let's talk about condition of sale. Who's going to weigh in on that one?
Yes, condition of sale. So we are seeing this condition of sale. This is one of these warnings where you be careful of the standard clause. So if you are acting for a buyer who is trying to sell their own home and you have put in that clause, you know, my purchase is conditional upon the sale of my own home. If it's just that sort of standard clause and that's sort of the beginning and the end of the clause, be very careful, because what we have seen, I think maybe half a dozen times so far, is that the buyer is able to sell their home, but they have an offer come in, but it's not at a price that allows them to then complete their purchase. So you're sort of stuck if you've just said, well, it's conditional upon sale of home. Well, they have sold their home. So now they have to continue with their purchase, but now they can't afford it. We've got a problem. So if you want to be able to protect your buyers and they want to accept an offer on their home, they want to accept it, but it's less, and they can now not continue with the purchase, you need to put specific language in there. Sole and absolute discretion, put some pricing in, whatever it is. You're gonna have to tailor the clause for this specific situation. Okay, because once they've sold their home and they're stuck on their purchase.
And they're finding something else that's cheaper and they're going to buy, but they're still conditional on the sale of their home, and they've got a very sellable house. And how do they deal with it? Like, you don't want to go cap in hand and say, hey, we need a $50,000 reduction on the buy, and then you're still conditional for another 4 weeks.
No.
So yeah. So the thing is, it would be very, very helpful to put in some specific language that if we do not get, or if we can sell the house, and if we don't get an excess of this amount of money, we cannot go through with the deal, and then you have an out. Okay. So, and that's critical. And that's what we're seeing now, because people are seeing now prices drop and they're going to something else. And then this is what leads to the next thing. Don't be so generous with information and start telling them, like, you know what, guys, it ain't going to work. You know, can you give us a mutual release, or things like, you know what, we didn't get our financing, you know, can we get a release? But you weren't conditional on financing, you were conditional on home inspection. So again, you want to talk a little bit about that scenario? Okay?
Yes. So what we have been seeing as well recently is, I'll take a quick example, is the condos. So you've got a buyer and they put an offer on a condo, and it's conditional upon a lawyer's review of status certificate. Mm-hmm. And in the few days leading up to it, your buyer calls you and says, oh, my dad can't lend to me anymore, so I'm not approved for my mortgage with you know, whatever lender anymore, and I can't go ahead with this purchase. So being the nice agent that you are, you, as the buyer's agent, you call the listing agent, you say, you know what, his financing has fallen through. I don't want to hold this up any longer. You know, it's Wednesday, you can relist on the weekend and put the condo back up for sale. And the listing agent turns around and says, well, actually, you didn't have a condition for financing. Your condition was on status certificate. So now we've got a problem. There's bad faith. The buyer was never intending to have the status certificate reviewed. And the situation that we had recently was then the seller did not let the buyer out of the deal because they were operating under bad faith. The deposit was held up for 3 weeks before this could be appropriately dealt with. And of course, the buyer is now very ticked off with their agent, who tried to be a nice person, but gave away too much, Okay. So, I mean, while we all want to be nice people in business, you have to remember who your clients are and proceed accordingly and protect them.
Yeah. Don't underestimate the other side, because they really dug in their heels. And we had 2 in 1 week like that.
That's right.
So, yeah.